time for another review. I am going to be doing a review of one of my favorite Disney movies of all time, Winnie the Pooh, from 2011. Some people might not know this, but this is actually a sequel to The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh that was made back in 1977. Yeah, a long time ago. So, let's get on with it, shall we? Much like how The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh was basically just 3 separate stories combined into one film, this film actually has 3 different stories that all parallel with one another. So, one story involves Pooh trying to find some honey because he is really, really hungry. The other story involves Eeyore losing his tail, so the gang tries to come up with some clever ways to make him feel better by giving him some different objects in place of his tail. The other storyline involves Christopher Robin apparently going to school. However, because the gang misread his note, they think that he was captured by a monster called the Baxen. And by the way, the Baxen song is actually a pretty fun song because there's a point where each character has to describe what they do, and it's kind of like how the actors have to immediately say their line once the other one finishes. It's very clever how they're able to do this while the song gets faster and faster. Although there are a few points where it is a misunderstanding, and then we find out how it resolves.
They made me catch the cold I caught.
They made me lose my train of thought.
They swipe your stripes.
They climb your pipes. They dig up your garden.
They won't beg your pardon.
Be back soon.
Back soon.
Back soon.
Sounds like Baxen.
Back soon.
Yeah, well. Ooh,
Now I gotta say, the film itself is actually pretty great in terms of storytelling, comedy, and not to mention the animation looks very, very cartoony, even more cartoony than the previous film they made. But you know what? That's basically 2010's 2D animation for you. Also, this film features a quote-unquote character called Balloon, which is just a red balloon, but they seem to treat it like it has a personality.
Is he still there? Oh, yes. He's still here. And I think he wants to stick with you.
We could give Balloon a try. Wow.
They also include the wonderful thing about Tiggers, of course.
But the most wonderful thing about Tigger is that I'm the only one. I'm the only one.
I also talked about how good the animation looks. Seriously, it looks so good, especially for Disney standards. There's so many different faces that the characters make. It kind of feels like you're watching an episode of SpongeBob or some other comedic cartoon. Also, this film loves to break the fourth wall by using the text as objects.
Look, the letters. The ladders formed a letter. I mean, the letters, we can get out.
I think the character that really stood out was Rabbit. Not just because of the best animation he's got, but a wonderful performance by Tom Kenny.
Oh, good grief. Oh, for crying out loud.
One other noticeable difference I noticed from the characters was Kanga. She seems to have pointy ears rather than her usual rounded ears. Maybe they were trying to make her look like a real kangaroo. But then again, she did have something like that in the first film, as well as in the original books. She seems to look like this nowadays, as a lot of her current artwork depicts her with her pointy ears. Also, Rue probably has the best line in this film.
Send the pig.
Another song I really liked was Everything is Honey. It's probably my favorite song of the whole film, because it shows how much Winnie the Pooh really, really likes honey. And the honey paradise he fantasizes about is very well designed. Wonderful colors of gold and orange. It just looks so beautiful. Plus, Jim Cummings actually really sings the song perfectly here.
Everywhere is honey,
a honey Pooh. He's just made of honey, so I guess I'll eat him too.
When we come to the end of the film, we realize that Winnie the Pooh actually does have a heart for his friends. Once he finds Eeyore's tail and basically sacrifices his love of honey to give it back to him. That's so nice. It's so wonderful.
Thank you, Pooh.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, the person who finds Eeyore's tail wins a pot of honey. And because Pooh found it, he gets the pot of honey, resulting in him no longer being hungry for a long time. Oh, and the Baxton was real.
Maybe these are his things. You know, I better pick them up so they won't get broke.
Believe it or not, there are a few characters that I wish were in this film, like the character Gopher. He actually appeared in the original film, but why was he not in this film? Maybe the people who made it didn't really like him that much. Believe it or not, the only reason why he was in the first film is because Walt Disney himself wanted to create a character to appeal to American audiences, since Winnie the Pooh was originally made in the UK. Another character who I wished was in it was Lumpy the Heffalump. Why not Lumpy? He would have been great. This came out after Pooh's Heffalump movie, so why not include him? It could be that maybe this took place before that film, and believe it or not, there is no mention of Heffalumps and Woozles in this film at all, so it's kind of hard to tell when this film takes place. But to be fair, they do still acknowledge him in some of the merchandising, as well as in a few sources of media. This film was actually made after My Friends Tigger and Pooh ended its run. And the other thing that they made after the film was the 2018 live-action film Christopher Robin. After that, Winnie the Pooh kind of went on a pretty long hiatus until he ended up getting some merchandise. Lots and lots of merchandise just to acknowledge the silly old bear's presence in the Disney family. There has been a lot, and to be honest, the current artwork actually looks really good and kind of reminds me of the 2011 film. So could this mean that there's going to be another Winnie the Pooh animated movie or TV show in the future? I really hope so. I hope they make like a Disney Plus original series. Or heck, maybe a new animated theatrical film, either in CGI or 2D. It depends, because I really hope they do that. Now, speaking of 2D animation, a lot of film critics and fans complain that there is no longer going to be any more 2D animated Disney films. But I doubt that. There might be another one in the future. In fact, I actually heard a rumor that there might actually be one. And listen, if there's anybody who thinks that 2D animation is dead, well then, they were wrong. I mean, look at all of the animated films that were made after the 2011 movie that contain 2D. In fact, the second SpongeBob movie was mostly 2D. And of course, there was the My Little Pony movie from 2017 that was fully 2D. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review of Winnie the Pooh from 2011. Hopefully we'll get another film or TV show in the future. Okay? Well then, see you later!